Get ready for the Fantasy Football Friends podcast, hosted by Carter McCracken and Max Lampkin.
What's up, Fantasy Football Friends? Today we're going to be bringing you our sleepers and busts for Week 2, as well as our locks, and we're going to be going over the Thursday night football game. We have a guest with us today, and we're excited that he's here. You'll probably see him more in this podcast going down the road.
What's up, guys? I'm Luke, defending champ in the Fantasy Football League with us guys here last year.
Yep.
Defending champ. I've got a lot of experience in this field. You guys are going to want to listen to me. So the advice is coming your way.
Who's your team?
Be excited. Lifelong Dallas Cowboys football fan. If I was a betting man, which I am, I'd say take us for the Super Bowl this year because we're going all the way, baby. Lock it in. Heard it here first.
All right.
But no, I'm very excited to be on the podcast with these guys. This is my brother, Max, and lifelong friend, Carter McCracken, or you can call him Bart.
Yep, so there we go for that. Nice introduction there.
Now,
Let's get into it. We got some news.
So guys, the Seahawks are potentially without both their offensive tackles, Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross. Charles Cross has officially been ruled out. Abraham Lucas still yet to be seen whether he's playing or not looking good. Carter, I know you dropped Geno Smith and really saw him struggle in the second half of that game against the Rams once those two tackles went out. So not a good outlook for that passing game and potentially that offense as a whole. This week, they're going against Aiden Hutchinson and that Lions defense, so it could be could hurt them a lot. So some bust candidates in that realm for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be something you're wanting to monitor. I dropped Geno Smith for Derek Carr. Geno Smith looked very sketchy at the end of that game. That whole offense got 13 yards in the second half. Yeah. Once those tackles both went out, they'd go and pick up 41-year-old
Jason Peters.
But from the grave.
He's 41?
This could be really good news for Kenneth Walker in a sense, if they decide to rely on that ground game a little more. So we'll have to see, guys. But not looking good for that Seahawks offense. Another team that's not looking good in terms of injury are the Baltimore Ravens, guys. Ronnie Stanley, their starting left tackle, and Tyler Linderbaum, their starting center, are both ruled out. Mark Andrews, though, full participant. Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Williams on the defensive side of things in that secondary are both ruled out with injury. So going against the Bengals this week, Jamar, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow, we could see some fireworks on that side of the ball. So not looking good for that Ravens defense or really Ravens offense right now. Injury riddle seems to happen every year, unfortunately. So it could have big impact with J.K. Dobbins out for the season too. So
poor guy.
A lot of questions on that offense right now. Who's going to step up? What it's going to look like for Lamar? Probably going to see him with a lot of usage in his legs.
And we saw what T. Higgins did to them last year. He had a game against the Ravens where he had 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. Looked amazing, and we've seen Burrow light this team up. So with that backfield out, that just gives you more confidence starting someone like Chase or Higgins.
Well, yeah, you're starting these guys every week anyways, but
their ceiling is definitely.
Well, they're definitely going to do a lot better than they did last week. We could say that at least. I'm guaranteeing a touchdown from T. Higgins this week, by the way. He was pissed off last week, I think.
Yeah.
And also for the Ravens, I think you can take a waiver wire shot on Justice Hill. He had 2 touchdowns last week, not a bunch of yards, but I mean, someone's going to take the starting running back position.
This is a discussion Carter and I were having was like, what's your outlook on Edwards versus Justice Hill?
Yeah, I think you can just take a shot on both, see what happens. Like, this is what happens every year, and you never know. Someone could really kind of catch fire, and I think it's worth waiver wire shot if you just have like a kind of like very low receiver on your team, maybe an extra defense. Just drop them for one of these guys, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill. See who maybe catches fire.
So you're saying they're both basically the same? Like,
well, I'm actually higher on Justice Hill.
Really?
Okay.
Picked him up in my league, so yeah, I saw him get 2 touchdowns last week, so I like that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think they definitely split the work.
Yeah, so
I'm cool with either two.
moving to the Jets, Breece Hall, guys, full participant, officially questionable though. Definitely expect to see him out there. He's playing. He's not going to miss this game. Could see a uptick in workload for him in terms of the 10 carries he saw last week. I think with Zach Wilson in, they're going to establish that ground game with him and Dalvin Cook, albeit against a very tough Dallas Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Are you starting Breece?
Yeah, I think last week I accidentally benched Breece Hall against my guy Carter over here. Very unfortunate. I would have won. Cost me the week, but it's okay. I got a better waiver wire for week 1. But yeah, you start Breece Hall every week. I know we're playing Dallas this week. You got to start your studs every week. Don't make the mistake I did. I usually live by that, but start A.J. Dillon instead. He didn't do much, but we'll talk about A.J. Dillon as well, too. I like A.J. Dillon. Any guy who's going to get 15 or more carries a week, even when he has Aaron Jones, we see a lot of backfields who have 2 running backs and still can benefit.
Absolutely.
So don't be worried about a committee in certain offenses because they can thrive.
Yeah. So moving to Houston, guys, C.J. Stroud is questionable. Big downgrade to any of those receivers. If Davis Mills is playing, John Mechie's removed from the injury list, so he's playing this week. Really good thing for him. Coming back from cancer last year and then just the hamstring injury he endured this offseason. So pretty good for him. Not big fantasy implications. Nico Collins is still really the only relevant guy that I would be looking to even think about getting my lineup on that Houston offense. Maybe Dalton Schultz, but I think there's still more to be seen. I wouldn't be confident in playing them.
Damian Pierce?
How do we feel about Pierce?
I mean, I don't mind Pierce this week against Indianapolis. I think he has a shot. We saw Etienne have a really good game, albeit Jacksonville's offense is obviously far superior to Houston's, but you mentioned this in one of our previous podcasts. Houston's offense is if Houston's gonna have a good day, Damian Pierce is gonna have a good day. So
yeah.
I think they're gonna try and ride him. He's a guy. I had him as a bust candidate last week. He did bust. But I think he's a guy you're gonna put in your lineup regardless. He's probably your RB2 that you drafted. So he's gonna see your lineup.
If Stroud's questionable, are you more confident playing him? Like, say Stroud is out. Would you rather play Gus Edwards or would you rather play?
I'd play the superior back. Yeah, and plus I think people don't realize the strength of that Cincinnati defense is that defensive line, outside linebackers. So I think they make the run game really hard. Although we saw Nick Chubb have a great game, but Nick Chubb is probably the best pure running back in the game right now. But I think Damian Pierce's upside is much higher than. And like Luke was saying, you got Justice Hill there too.
Yeah, you kind of want to see that backfield play out before you start either one of them.
Right.
Unless you're in a really bad pinch.
Yeah. So moving on, guys. Jerry Jeudy set to play against Washington. I know you're a big Jeudy guy, Carter.
I have a shared Jeudy.
You got a shared Jeudy.
One of my leagues. Excited to see him.
Are you guys playing him this week or what are you thinking?
God, who I had on my flex.
I think you definitely play Jeudy this week.
Yeah, I think I'm flexing him this week. That's my third receiver. I have A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill. So I think Judy's coming in on my flex.
Heard it here, guys.
Like, wide receiver 1, I think you're more confident playing Jeudy than you are Courtland Sutton.
Really?
For sure. Yeah. I think Jeudy will step up. We saw what he did at the end of last year.
So it's like Makers did at the end of last year too.
Yeah, we don't have to talk much about that.
But all right, guys. So you heard it here. These guys are looking to get Jeudy in their lineup. You should do the same. Austin Eckler, doubtful. Josh Kelly, guys, up. Even if Eckler does end up playing, I think Josh Kelly's. Are you playing Josh Kelly? I know you got him.
Yeah, Kelly's a guy who even before week 1 I picked up just because you saw what he did in preseason. He broke a 75-yard touchdown. Chargers running backs, they have a great offense. So
Kellen Moore likes to use 2 backs.
Even in this situation, Eckler, they both they did well last week. Even Kelly had 15 points with Eckler on the entire game. He's a guy who's going to get a bunch of touches, like 10 to 15 carries a game. Could get a touchdown here and there. So definitely roster Kelly, and especially if you have Eckler, if Eckler is going to be out, you can I'd definitely play Josh Kelly even against a strong Titans defense.
Yeah, that Titans defense they're strong.
Good against the run, poor against the pass. So
yeah, I'd play Kelly as an RB2 in a crunch, and then if you're looking at a flex, and you don't have a better receiving option, like, would you rather flex Nico Collins or Josh Kelly?
Josh Kelly.
Taking Kelly.
Josh
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Josh Kelly's looking like a pretty strong flex
Right.
this week.
Yeah, definitely add him on your waivers if he's still out there. He's probably not, but should have probably done that earlier on.
Right.
But yeah, Kelly's a great handcuff. I think he's a talented guy, and definitely gonna get
see
some
opportunity.
Yeah, he's gonna get some opportunity.
So DeAndre Hopkins, questionable, has not practiced all week. Personally, like, I feel like we've seen this from Hopkins where he doesn't practice throughout the week. He's a vet. Like, he doesn't need like, every guy needs reps, but he doesn't need the reps as much as the other guys do. We saw him get 13 targets in his first game on a new offense in a day that Ryan Tannehill had 3 interceptions.
Right.
So, like, he gets unquestionable. I know you have shares of Hopkins. He's just an unquestionable, like, his opportunity's set. Like, his volume's set. He's going to be that number 1 target. Guys, just keep an eye on it, Sunday morning, what his designation is. If he's in, if he's out. If he's in, he's in your lineup, undoubtedly.
100%.
If he's out, just keep an eye on it. Have a backup plan in place. Kelsey's expected to play, so that's not much more to be said for that. Obviously, keep an eye on that.
If Kelsey plays, you're playing him.
Yeah,
I don't.
absolutely.
Even if he's on a pitch count, I'd
the
rather
tight end
Kelsey
position
for 10 snaps than most any other tight ends for.
Right.
Well, I mean,
30,
you saw
you know?
the Chiefs last week. They need someone,
They need Kelsey.
and
They need Kelsey.
they need Kelsey bad. He's gonna
Yeah.
be, Travis Kelsey.
I
Yeah.
do.
So a big stud from last week, a big waiver wire pickup at the receiver position, Puka Nacua, guys. He's limited in practice today with an oblique injury, expected to play. Sean McVay said he will be good to go this week. So I have him in our league. I just took him out of the lineup when we were setting up for this. He's going against the Niners defense, guys. Tough matchup. Dealing with an injury, I'm just staying away from it. I actually slotted in Rashid Shaheed, who's another great waiver wire pickup you guys should get.
Shaheed's a big boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Puka, guys, he's gonna have great opportunity throughout the season. I think even when Cup comes back, he's still gonna be serviceable. This game is just not a good matchup going in with an injury designation.
Right.
He's not staying in my lineup.
I wouldn't be happy to play him, but if you absolutely have to,
I don't think he's the worst you can do if you're in a crunch.
Yeah, I mean,
But I'm not looking to play him now.
targets he got is.
Yeah, 15
If he
targets.
gets if someone's getting 10 targets, their floor is at 12 points.
Yeah, right.
And we'll see. Definitely a hard start against the San Francisco
Right.
49ers.
yeah, I want to see what he does after that big week 1.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not gonna do that every week.
So for the Packers, a guy Luke touched on earlier, Aaron Jones is questionable, as well as Christian Watson coming back from that hamstring injury. So they actually are both dealing with hamstring injuries. Aaron Jones had a very efficient game last week against the Bears, shredded them for 2 touchdowns.
He looked incredible.
Yeah, he looked great.
Running back one.
Christian Watson, yet to see what he does this week, guys. So those are 2 players. Have a backup plan in place. Obviously, last week you had a backup plan for Christian Watson because he did not play. So let us know, guys, in the comments. Let us know what your team looks like, who your options are. We'd love to give you some advice there. As Luke said, A.J. Dillon, owners, you guys are getting a boost if Jones is out. Obviously,
Definitely.
A.J. Dillon would be the lead back in that situation. So that would be a very good outlook for them. Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave all get a bump in opportunity if Watson does not play this week.
Yeah, I'm still a big believer in AJ Dillon, even though you don't really see him. I mean, he gets a lot of carries. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about
Volume.
touches, volume. So AJ Dillon, you probably got 7th, 8th round, maybe even later. And I think he's everyone was sleeping on him. He's a bowling ball. He's a stud.
Bowling ball.
When Aaron Jones was out at the end of last year, I mean, I had him all last year and could barely even play him till the end. But when Aaron Jones was out, he did really good at in the fantasy playoffs. So hopefully, I'd love to see him do good this week. I'm probably starting him if Aaron Jones is out. So I think you should do the same. If you see Aaron Jones ever out, AJ Dillon's always a play.
Yeah, and just going back to Watson, Dobbs, just the pass catchers in general. Dobbs was questionable throughout the week. He is now off the injury list. So you don't have to worry too much about him.
I like Dobbs as a flex play.
I do too.
Him and we talked about this throughout the offseason. Him and Jordan Love have a great connection.
I like the Packers this week in general, just against
I do too.
That.
You know
Bears
Atlanta's
defense-
favored, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Line shifted.
Yeah. So guys, last tidbit of news: Brandon Cooks, your boy, game time decision this week against the Jets. So that in itself is a tough matchup going in as a game time decision if he does not play. Could be a bump for CD's ceiling. Gonna be an interesting. Personally, I see that game being low scoring, rough, ball gets pounded type of game. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Jets game last week. I mean, we saw them play the Bills, but it was really bad weather. So no one really did great in that game. I know, two very good defenses, but I mean, you still got to start your studs. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, you're starting CD.
I mean, he's gonna have a great week in my opinion, even against Ahmad Gardner. Play CD. Brandon Cooks. I mean, Pollard's gonna have a great game. Yeah. You're never benching him. Don't even know why I'm saying this. But yeah, both great defenses. But what are they not gonna play offense? So I mean, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson.
You got to start your guys. That's the lesson of this. You start your guys. If they're in the lineup, you're starting them. Don't think twice about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Garrett Wilson had 4 catches for 30 yards again, but you still got to start him, guys.
Yeah. What are you doing with Garrett Wilson?
Right now, I guess his value is at a low, but I guess you just got to see and wait. I mean, if you could trade him for maybe a Cooper Kupp and I don't know. Really up to you guys. I kind of want to see him play. Last year, he didn't have Aaron Rodgers, and he was still great. So
he was great without Wilson.
Yeah, we'll see. Wilson's a number 2 overall pick. I'd love to see him grow, but
it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I'm very upset. I took Wilson in the second round of our draft, but we're gonna have to see how it plays out. Offensive Rookie of the Year, so
he's talented.
It'd definitely be hard to sit him this week.
Right.
And then,
that wraps up our big news, guys. Just going to leave you off with this as I usually do. Keep an eye on your guys throughout the week, especially Sunday morning. Can't stress that enough. You don't want to miss guys that are out or, doubtful in that type of situation, going to be on a pitch count in a game and then lose out on points. Always have a backup plan for your guys. Just be aware at all times of those injury designations. That'll burn you. So moving into our Thursday night wrap-up. Vikings and the Eagles. Eagles came out on top, 34-28. That score's a little closer than what the actual game. They scored in the last 2 minutes of the game, brought it within 6 versus being a
covered the spread.
14, yeah, versus being a 14-point game. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely great game for almost every fantasy owner except for the Alexander Masson owners.
AJ Brown.
I mean, every start in that game was an absolute hit. Oh, AJ Brown as well, yeah.
AJ Brown, yeah. Also Dallas Goedert. You didn't really see him rack up much yards, but he's obviously one of the tight ends that you play every week. So
I mean, it's unfortunate. He had 6 receptions, 7 targets, but only 22.
Yeah.
Goddard owner, if you guys can't tell. But 6 receptions for 22 yards. That was really disappointing. He put up what Hawkinson did last week.
Yeah,
same thing. But Hawkinson was great.
Hawkinson's the man. I got him in one of my leagues, so I'm happy about that. Hawkinson
25 points.
Looks great. I would have taken him in the league. I got Goddard as well. He got picked right in front of me. I love Hawkinson. Just the Vikings. They're very efficient throwing the ball. Hawkinson did great last year when he was traded. He's a stud. So happy about him. But my biggest takeaway from the Thursday night game was DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, he could seriously be a league winner. I always thought if there was any one running back that could really take over in the Eagles' backfield, then they would be an absolute top 5 running back. And I think DeAndre Swift, we saw what he did, 175 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns. I don't even remember.
1 touchdown, yeah.
Yeah, he got a touchdown, but boy, if you have DeAndre Swift, you're really happy right now. Don't trade him. Keep him.
Yeah. I would stress that as well.
Keep DeAndre Swift. You guys got lucky.
So if you could go DeAndre Swift or get like, say, Joe Mixon.
Swift.
Really?
Yeah, he looked
Okay.
great last night.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that because guys, like when he's healthy, like he produces. Like that's the story of his career is he's a 5 yards per carry guy, an elusive guy, can catch the ball out of the backfield. We don't see Philly do that much with their running backs, but like if he stays healthy, like you're saying, Luke, he's a league winner.
He looked
I
great.
totally agree with that assessment.
He looked really good. So if you have DeAndre Swift, you're in for a good year.
I like that you said do not trade him. I would agree with that statement. The other running back for the Alexander Madison guys obviously did not turn in a great performance, another underwhelming performance, only 4 fantasy points. 28 rushing yards, 3 receptions for 11 yards with the fumble. I just want to preface this by like what happened in the media and stuff. Like, guys, don't go after your fantasy players.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like have some like you gotta be have some respect. Be a decent human being, guys. Don't go after these guys on like it's a game of football where these guys like they pour their heart and souls into this. This is their job. Everything doesn't turn. It's not about you. This is like it's a game of football at the end of the day. Do not go name calling and trashing people in their DMs. Like that's weirdo activity. So I just want to say that. But Madison did turn in another underwhelming game.
Yeah, Madison
That
owners
Vikings,
are not happy right
yeah.
now.
So I know 13 Cents 83, a guy that is following us pretty closely, has been commenting a little bit. He asked about what he should do with Jefferson and Madison. So if you're watching, bro, I would say right now, Madison you can't really do anything with but that's kind of what we answered with last time. But if you're a Madison owner in general, you can't move him right now. You're not gonna get much of anything for him. His value's at an all-time low. You'd have to wait for him to really have a big boom game or put some consecutive weeks together to really show his value.
Right.
The one thing that most people took Madison for was you're going to get volume.
Right.
He's still the RB1 there. He's
Still
still going
getting
to get
volume.
volume.
Yeah, that's
Two tough matchups to start off the year,
Yeah.
honestly.
Tampa
The
Bay and
Bucs
Philly, who are 2 great run defenses.
So what? Week 3, I guarantee he has a bounce back week.
Right.
You always see the Vikings running backs do well. Dalvin Cook.
He plays
Madison's a
the
good
Chargers next
So,
week.
yeah,
So
watch.
That's a great matchup for him.
yeah, but Carter, I like what you said. Like he was still far and ahead, the lead back. Like Ty Chandler had 1 rush and 1 reception, so it's not like anyone was encroaching on his touches or anything. So guys, ride it out with Madison. You don't have much other choice. He's gonna level himself out.
Yeah,
I would not panic yet. Do not go try to trade him or drop him or anything like that.
More about the volume here.
Right.
Jordan Addison.
Woo! That was my guy all off season. Unfortunately, I don't have any shares of him, but he's explosive. Has 2 touchdowns in his 2 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not gonna keep that up. But just a very explosive player. Had only 3 receptions, but 72 yards in the touchdown.
And he's only going to get better and better because he's not even playing all the snaps right now. And
Right.
so I'm really excited for Addison, especially by the end of the year. He looks explosive.
Yeah.
And a high-flying offense with the Vikings. So Addison's definitely a go. I'm starting him.
Only 56% of snaps the week before, and then up to almost 70% this week. So that's just going to continue to go up.
So, I mean, guys, we saw Justin Jefferson do what he does. Unfortunately, had the fumble, but still ended up with, 24 points, 24.9 points. So, like, the fumble really doesn't matter.
159 yards.
He's just everything we expected out of him this year. Still yet to score a touchdown. So, that's coming. Like, it's sky's the limit for that guy.
Right.
Not much else to say. Devontae Smith, though. Carter, I'm going to shout you out real quick. And during our rankings, through the offseason, you're
It's
more
about
than
time
welcome,
I get
bro.
appreciation around here.
Throughout the entire offseason, Carter was saying how he thinks Devontae Smith is going to clearly rival, if not overtake, A.J. Brown for that lead role in the offense in terms of receptions, targets, overall production. So, obviously, last week he got the touchdowns. They both had 7 receptions, talking about him and A.J. Brown. Brown paced them in yardage, but this week, Smith really skyrocketed.
Yeah, I think he's the more explosive guy. AJ Brown is going to get the more valuable targets down the line, like they were gunning it from way deep, and that's where I think Devontae Smith is gonna shine. When they're in the red zone, it's more gonna be AJ Brown. So it's just really depending on how the game's going. But yeah, Devontae Smith led them in receptions last year, and I think he does that again. I don't think AJ Brown gets as many touchdowns just because I thought that the Eagles would not be the same. I just don't see. I'm not as high on the Eagles as most other people are. You don't ever see teams repeat in that conference or in that division. I got Dallas winning that division this year. So we've seen a kind of shaking up Jalen Hurts. He doesn't look the same, and that's kind of why I was a little bit lower on AJ Brown, a little bit higher on Devontae Smith.
Yeah, guys, AJ Brown will be fine. He had a touchdown, probably like a 20-yard touchdown.
25-yard touchdown.
Called back last night because of some BS holding, but
yeah. So AJ Brown
don't worry about
had 6 targets to Devontae's 5. So it's really just like they're gonna see similar targets, opportunities all season. It's just who happens to get that deep touchdown type of deal. So
yeah, here you're starting both guys every week.
Yeah,
no matter
both
what.
guys are in your lineup. I mean, even Goddard, he paced the team with 7 targets. It's just what he happened to do.
Yeah, they do have a lot of
the quality of those targets.
Studs in that offense.
Yeah. I'm just saying wide receiver 6 for AJ Brown. I think he takes a step back this year.
Yeah, definitely.
So guys, Kirk Cousins, 36 points. 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. Did have the fumble. Obviously, guys, if you can't tell, fumbles plagued the Vikings last night. But Kirk Cousins, guys, had turned in another phenomenal performance.
Quit hating on him in prime time. I mean, that was not his fault.
Facts.
It really
you
wasn't.
Can't blame it on him.
That was not his fault at all.
4 touchdowns, 364 yards. Did kind of have that garbage time touchdown, but at the same time, he already had 3 at that point.
Yeah, I'm looking to start quarterbacks against the Eagles defense at this rate.
Right.
Mac Jones did pretty good against them, so hey.
Good call.
Yeah, maybe even if you see the matchup against the Eagles, start the quarterback.
So Jalen Hurts had only 23 attempts because they were just pounding it with DeAndre Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts did still salvage his day with 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 through the air to Devontae Smith, 193 passing yards, 35 rushing yards with an interception. So, I mean, the guy still put up 27 points on... Like, this is what makes Jalen Hurts so scary, is that, yeah, he only had 193 passing yards, 35 rushing yards, which is a pretty low overall output, and the pick. He had 3 touchdowns. So
great offensive line, high-powered offense.
So, Hurts, guys, like...
He's going to be your guy again.
They shove him in the end zone when they get on the 1. Yeah. It happened twice last week, and so we got 2 touchdowns off
That's
that.
the only downside to Swift, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's automatic. It's so automatic, dude. I would hate going up against if I was a defensive tackle in another
it's coming and you can't do
universe, if you're lined up against like Jason Kelsey on the 1 yard line, like what are you gonna do? You might as well just walk away or something.
Let him score.
Yeah. So Thursday night, guys, gave a lot of booms to a lot of players. Obviously, a few of them busted. That happens every game, but that was a game filled with fantasy implications. A lot of season-altering outlooks.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift's going to be the guy for the rest of the year until he gets hurt.
DeAndre Swift is certainly the headline of this game in terms of fantasy, newcomer
great.
sort of thing. So great thing for DeAndre Swift. Someone I wasn't high on, but guys, if he stays healthy, like I said earlier,
don't even worry about Gainwell,
winner.
honestly. DeAndre Swift's more talented back there.
He is. Yeah, it was really interesting seeing him only get 2 touches the first week. Going into this Thursday, I rewatched our Thursday night preview. I was like, there's no way he only ends up with 2 touches again. So great thing for Swift owners.
Yeah. So if, say Higgins has a good game, like a kind of back to his average, like 12, 15 points, would you try to trade for Swift with someone like say, Alexander Madison, T. Higgins?
Sure.
I would not.
It depends what you need roster-wise.
I still think, I feel like T. Higgins is, it does depend on the roster, but I think Higgins is just so much more stability. You know what you're getting. The guy doesn't really get hurt. High-flying offense. I know Philly is too, but there's just so many running backs, moving pieces in that offense. I mean, I like Swift. I just don't see his value that high.
I mean, yeah, that's high value.
Yeah.
I'm just gauging.
Yeah.
But if you have good depth, I'd go for it. I think he's a league winner.
Right. If you were in need, like if you had good receiver depth and you needed a running back, by all means, I got no issue with that.